you glamorous bitches. I'm Cassidy, and I think you're hot. So, here I am, about 2 weeks, possibly 3, after my Valentine's Day video where I colored my hair pink. And as you can see, the pink was temporary. And now it's fading. And I got this yellowy, orangey, kind of weird looking hair. If you look at me from this side, for my alcoholics out there, I look like a tequila sunrise. So, I wanted to speak a little more about transitioning today. There are several aspects of transitioning. The physical part, the hormones and the testosterone blocker for male to female, that's only one part of it. That's the part that pertains to your body, changing your body to match your inside. And that's, a process, and there's a science to it, and you do what you can. You work closely with your doctor, and you take the proper medications, and, it takes a while. It's a slow process. We know that. Okay, but that's only one part of it. That's really only the physical aspect of transitioning. There are other aspects that I think sometimes get overlooked when people talk about transitioning. And the ones that I can think of are mental or emotional transitioning, and also social transitioning. And I think those are just as important as the physical, maybe even more so. I think the physical part is easy. There's no real thought that has to go into that. That's all, I got to take this pill at this time, or, whatever. That's not the hard part at all. That's science. You follow the steps, you get the results. Results vary, of course, but there's really not that much that goes into it on my end. So the other types of transitioning are the ones I want to discuss. The mental, emotional transitioning, to me, that's like learning to adjust your way of thinking. And I guess that might sound strange, but even for people that have felt a dysphoria, an internal disconnect for most of their lives, there's still a mental adjustment when you finally are able to be open with yourself and embrace the true nature, your true aspect. And when you're able to be, in public with it. Because, you can accept it in your mind, but that's a completely different thing than, when you tell people, when you tell even one other person, you're admitting it out loud and you begin to live your life that way. And it's an adjustment, myself, I lived 4 decades as the typical male. I was raised male, you know, I was conditioned by society to be male, to act male, to think male. And even though I'd felt that disconnect inside, and for many years, I wasn't even aware of it. Not that I wasn't aware of it, but I didn't necessarily make the connection that it was the dysphoria. I just knew that something wasn't right and that, you know, I didn't fit this, pre-cut male description. But nonetheless, I did my best to live up to it, to fit into it. And like I said, 40 years, more than 40 years of living that way. And once you stop, once you accept the difference or the change, it still takes time to unlearn, I guess, if you will, those behaviors, those thoughts, those patterns, those mannerisms. That's the way it is. So, that's part of the transition too. And I think that's just as important as, the physical aspect, because you're more than just your body. You're more than just skin and bones and whatever. Um, the mind and how you perceive yourself is a huge, huge part of the transition. So that definitely shouldn't be overlooked. That's something that, that part of the transition is important. It has to be acknowledged. And it's okay to struggle with that. It's okay to have doubts. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to not know exactly where your path is taking you at every single step. All that stuff is normal. Everyone goes through that at some point. Transgender, cisgender, life is not clear. Life is not always certain. And life is challenging. Even more so for people that are trying to break out of a predefined mold that they were put in at birth. It's natural. So don't worry too much about that. As you get further along with your transition and you start to be more comfortable with yourself, with who you are, that'll get easier. It just takes time. And, the same thing with confidence. Confidence comes with time. You just gotta live your life, for so many people, myself included, once they came to terms with being transgender, once they fully embraced it, accepted it, like I said, like me, everything just got so much clearer and so much easier, and I didn't have to devote so much energy to that conflict, that internal conflict, and that freed up, that energy to focus on me. And you'll get there. That's, people come to that in their own way, their own time. But, it does happen. And I know I keep saying this, but, time is the best thing about the best healer of all wounds. I don't think that's right, but You get what I'm trying to say. Now, the other aspect of transitioning that I mentioned before was social transitioning. And especially in today, the day and age that we're in today, with all the technology that we have and the way we interact with people and our environment, that's a huge part of it. Social transitioning. We are social animals. Somebody said that one time. But, you know, no matter what you do, you can't just sit at home and hide out from the world. And, people do, especially people that are not comfortable with their selves, during their transition, and that's unhealthy. And that's part of, what makes the social transition an important aspect of it. Um, you have to interact with the world. You have to be out there. Hopefully you have a job, you have friends and family, and part of the transitioning is learning to get out there as yourself. Now, I know some people, again, it might boil down to confidence. Like when you're newly transitioning, you don't have the confidence. You might be worried that what people are going to say or what they'll think. And I understand that. I went through that too. And that was a big thing before I came to terms with being transgender that, held me up for many, many years. I just didn't have the confidence. I didn't think I could pull it off. I didn't think I would be accepted. I didn't think, I would be pretty. I didn't think, I would be good at being a woman. But it turns out that I was wrong about all of that stuff. And in most cases, none of that mattered anyway. Now, I have had many, many years of martial arts training, public speaking. I've taught martial arts. I've had leadership training. I've taught leadership training. I've been in classrooms. I've taught classes. I've been in front of, two people. I've been in front of 50 or more people, hundreds of people. And, I've been conditioned to be comfortable with that. So it does come a little bit easier for me. But again, I spent years and years and years out in front, you know, having people looking at me and listening to me and stuff like that. So, I'm used to it. Now, some people that haven't had those experiences or naturally could be nervous about, going out in public, presenting as a woman or a man for the first time, or, even longer. It took me about a year to be really comfortable going out in public as me, with feminine clothing and makeup and all that stuff. And like I said, I was a very outgoing and very confident person, before I accepted my transgenderness. That's not a word. Stop it. So social transitioning is, again, an important aspect and maybe the most frightening part of transitioning. And the only way to really get over it is to do it. I mean, I know it's not easy, but like Nike says, just do it. You know, start small. Maybe just wear nail polish, one day, or, buy some clothing that is somewhat androgynous, make little steps, little changes. And, you don't have to go it alone. Go with people that support you, go out with your friends, go in places that you know that you'll be accepted. Uh, and if you don't have that, if you're not sure of that, find a group, an LGBT group, or, a transgender support group or something, in your area. And if there isn't one, start one, because you're not alone. There are so many people out there that, may be in some state of transition or questioning. That's part of LGBTQIA plus, or just, something other than the cis norm. And they might not know where to turn to either. So be the leader. Start a group, and you'd be surprised how many people will, come out and say, hey, I'm glad you've provided this place. I have questions. I just want to talk. I'm happy to know that I'm not alone. And that's how it is. So that's a little bit more in-depth discussion about the different aspects of transitioning. I'd love to know your thoughts and comments and experiences on the subject. So please leave me comments and ask any questions you have, and let's start a discussion. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Please, if you're able to or you want to, please share my video. Hopefully it can help anyone, others who have questions, or just, again, like I said, want to know that there are other people that are out there that are like them. They're not alone. And that's all I got for this video. Until next time, love you.